With E3 right around the corner, so many rumors running around, in this video we're going to be taking a look at 10 massive unannounced PlayStation 4 games that are being heavily rumored for E3 2018. I'll throw in my insight on whether or not I believe these games will show up at the big event. Outside of these, we probably are going to see some surprise announcements that nobody saw coming, but with these 10 games there are some sort of background and some sort of idea that they will be appearing at the show, and if not at the show, sometime down the line. And bear in mind that you're gonna see a lot of games with a numerical value attached to them, a lot of sequels, a lot of new entries, because usually that's the type of games that get their information come out. But without further ado, let's get right into this. First up, we have Borderlands 3 and the Borderlands 1 remaster. Now, we know a brand new Borderlands game is in the works. It hasn't been officially shown off, we haven't gotten a logo or anything like that, and the Borderlands 1 remaster is a completely new entity and something that has come to the forefront recently. Not a lot of gamers saw that one coming. We got the Borderlands Handsome Collection, which included Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel, but Borderlands 1 is that one game that's still out there. It was a PlayStation 3 title, and rumors are circulating that that game will also be seeing a remaster. What better way to announce Borderlands 3 than say, hey, we've got a special edition or a pre-order bonus as a Borderlands 1 remaster? That'd be really cool and would get gamers really excited for Borderlands 3 and would get them invested into Borderlands right away. But I would love to see some brand new gameplay of a brand new Borderlands title, and the Borderlands 1 remaster can be just a side announcement or something like that. Moving on, we also have Watch Dogs 3. This is a game that is also being heavily rumored. However, I'm very skeptical in seeing this game announced, only because Ubisoft has already announced that Assassin's Creed Odyssey will be shown off at E3 of this year, and I just think if you show off Watch Dogs 3 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey, that is muddying the open world waters a little bit. However, going back to what the Sam Assistant, the Siri-like thing, said about Watch Dogs a few months ago, it does seem like a brand new Watch Dogs game is in development, and that's good news because while Watch Dogs 1 left a lot to be desired, Watch Dogs 2 was a far better game, and I often compare it to, say, what Assassin's Creed 2 did for Assassin's Creed, so I was always unsure about whether or not we'd see Watch Dogs 3, but at the very least, it does seem like it's in the works, and we might see a teaser trailer or something small about the game at E3, but I do see the majority of attention at Ubisoft's conference being put towards Assassin's Creed Odyssey and other announcements that I'll get to in a little bit. Next up, we have a game that personally I would love to see, and that is Titanfall 3. This is another game like Watch Dogs 3 I don't see EA doing a big announcement for. We could see something like a teaser trailer. I only say that because of course EA just recently announced Battlefield 5, and if EA did not learn from their mistakes with the release of Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2, then I don't even know what to say. If you guys are not aware, Titanfall 2 was a game that while critically was received very well, commercially it very much underperformed, and a big reason for that was because it was released right around the time as Battlefield 1 and a bunch of other first-person shooters. Just promotional malpractice there. That was not a good idea at all, and Titanfall 3 would be much better served released at a time where there aren't a lot of big-budget first-person shooters being released. Let's say early 2019 or even later in 2019 where we don't see another Battlefield game. Again, just like Watch Dogs 3, the majority of EA's press conference is probably going to be centered around Battlefield 5, so if we do hear about Titanfall 3, it'll probably be something small, but this is a game that I really hope Respawn are working on, and it does seem like EA hasn't completely shut the door on Titanfall. Next up, we have a Square Enix title that not a lot of people know about, and that is Outriders. This is a trademark that Square Enix registered recently, and while we don't know too much about the game, chances are this is a game that is attached to Square Enix's collaboration with People Can Fly, the guys that also did the first-person shooter in Bulletstorm. To me, Outriders also sounds like some sort of first-person shooter, so this might be a game we see at Square Enix's press conference, and at this point, we really don't have an inclination as to what brand new game Square Enix will be announcing at E3. We know that Square Enix is going to show off Kingdom Hearts 3, Shadow of a Tomb Raider, but they've been a rather mystery as far as new announcements. Outriders could be one of those surprising announcements we see at E3. Next up, we have a game that I'm personally very excited for. I don't know if that excitement bleeds over with everyone, but that is a Tales of Vesperia remaster on the PlayStation 4. Now, if you are unaware what Tales of Vesperia is, it was a JRPG in the Tales of franchise by Bandai Namco, and in my opinion, it is the best Tales of game. This is an absolutely enormous JRPG with so much content and a great cast of characters, and it was released all the way back in 2008 as an Xbox 360 exclusive. Very rare where a JRPG is released as a 360 exclusive. It was later ported onto the PlayStation 3, but the PlayStation 3 version never came over stateside. The PS3 version was far better than the Xbox 360 version as it saw a lot of enhancements. This has been one of those games that fans around the world have been clamoring to see come over, and 2018 does mark the 10-year anniversary anniversary of Tales of Vesperia, so this would be the best time to release it. A Tales of Vesperia remaster on PlayStation 4 would be awesome, and it looks like it might be happening as a domain was registered for a brand new game because of the 10th anniversary. And again, I know that a lot of you guys don't know what Tales of Vesperia is, but it's an excellent JRPG, and if a remaster is announced, make sure this is one that does not fall under your radar. Next up, we have Superman, a game that so many gamers have been clamoring for a very long time, and likely this would be a game done by Rocksteady, the guys that also did Batman Arkham. Now, Batman Arkham really did justice for Batman as a license. Spider-Man is getting its own game by Insomniac, and that game looks to do Spider-Man justice. Superman still hasn't really been done justice. Do not bring up Superman 64 because that game was not all too good, but a brand new Superman game by Rocksteady would be absolutely incredible. We know the kind of track record they have, and we haven't heard from them in a very long time. Arkham Knight was released all the way back in 2015. It is now 2018. It's been almost 3 years. You know they've been hard at work on something. It could be a brand new Superman game. We've seen images online surface. Some of it looks a little fishy to me, but I do believe Rocksteady is working on something special. It's been a long time since we've heard from them. I think E3 is the time that they do break their silence. Speaking of breaking silence, a franchise that needs to break its silence is Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, and I do foresee this game being announced at Ubisoft's press conference. We haven't heard from Splinter Cell as a franchise in a very long time, going back to 2013, and Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Blacklist was released right before the release of the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, so a lot of gamers really forgot about it. It is time we see Splinter Cell come back to the forefront, and this was a game that was leaked on Walmart's Canadian website. They leaked Rage 2, they leaked a brand new Assassin's Creed game, so chances are a brand new Splinter Cell game will be coming to fruition. Hopefully this is a game that also makes release by year's end. I know it might not be a great idea to release it in the wave that is coming this fall, but I feel like if they announce a Splinter Cell game, a release will be right around the corner. Next up, another game that was listed by Walmart Canada, Just Cause 4. Now, I'm a little bit skeptical on this one because Avalanche Studios is incredibly busy right now. They are working on Rage 2 thanks to Bethesda, and they are also working on a brand new IP that was announced today in Generation Zero. That game looks really interesting. It's a game set in 1980s Sweden with hostile machines. That game looks really cool, but I believe Just Cause 4 is also in the works. But with Avalanche already having their attention focused on 2 projects, announcing a 3rd title might be a little much, but I do believe Just Cause 4 is in development. We could see it at E3, although they might wait a little bit longer to show this one off. And finally, we've got to round out this list with 2 PlayStation 4 exclusives. Originally, we didn't know if we were going to see any PS4 exclusives because Sony said that they were primarily focusing on 4 games, that being The Last of Us Part 2, Insomniac Spider-Man, Death Stranding, as well as Ghost of Tsushima by Sucker Punch. However, rumors have been circulating that Sony will be showing off 2 PlayStation 4 exclusives, unannounced titles. And first, the title that's being rumored that's a little bit surprising to me is Horizon 2, a follow-up to Horizon Zero Dawn, which the reason it's so surprising to me is Horizon was just released last year. While some might think a year and change is a long time, in the game development world, that is not a long time at all. And I was really expecting that Guerrilla Games' next title would be a PlayStation 5 game. They've already released 2 games this generation in Killzone Shadowfall as well as Horizon, and for a studio to release 2 games in a generation, that is pretty remarkable already. Studios have their games delayed several generations, and then maybe even a 3rd one coming. That would be very surprising to me. But hey, maybe we could see a Horizon 2 teaser trailer, maybe a platform wouldn't even be attached to it, and it could be later revealed as a PlayStation 5 title. I could see something like that. And finally, number 1, a game that I think is much more likely is Bloodborne 2. This is an IP that Sony owns, and Sony would be absolutely foolish to not work with From Software again and make Bloodborne 2 happen. Bloodborne was one of the first truly commercial blockbusters as far as PS4 exclusives go, and many would consider it to be the first true system-selling PS4 title. And with From Software as a studio, their name being heralded in positivity more than ever, now is the time to see the announcement of Bloodborne 2. Of course, we did see the stuff come out about Shadows Die Twice. That looks to be From Software's next game, but I'm sure that is just a placeholder title. Maybe Sony won't even use the Bloodborne name and they'd rather go a different route. I think that's a mistake because Bloodborne does have a certain cachet to it, and I feel gamers would be all over a sequel to Bloodborne. I see it in the comments section all the time, so this is one I could see. I'm still a little bit skeptical on either PS4 exclusive. I really thought Sony was going to take E3 of this year, focus on those 4 games that they already set out, because they are so ahead of the competition already that announcing more PS4 exclusives, that does seem a little bit excessive with all of the other exclusives already announced. But hey, what kind of gamer would I be if I complained about the announcement of Horizon 2 or a Bloodborne 2? I would absolutely not complain. Just from a business sense, it doesn't make a lot of sense for these announcements to come now, but we will see very soon. that is going to conclude this video. 10 unannounced major PlayStation 4 titles that we might see at E3 2018. Now, of course, we probably won't see all of these games, but I would be very surprised if we didn't see at least a couple. I think the Tales of Vesperia remaster is almost a lock. I think we are going to see a brand new Splinter Cell game. It is time we heard from Rocksteady and that Superman game. I do think we are going to see Outriders, whatever that might be, and it's time we see a little bit of Borderlands 3 and maybe that Borderlands remaster to go with it. I am still skeptical on those 2 PlayStation 4 exclusives, but we will see soon enough. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. What games do you want to see be announced at E3? That is going to conclude this one. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.